Hello and welcome back to the Lily Pad Porch Chat podcast. I'm your host, Brother Bullfrog, and on this little porch chat we got going on today, you can see a little different edition. My head a little thick today. I got a ski on. You know, it's getting warmer out, but I gotta keep myself protected. Look, what I want to talk to y'all about is Jeffrey Dahmer and the current state of America. To be honest, it may be befitting to call what's occurring a cannibal holocaust. And that may be the most absurd thing to say within less than a minute of recording. But I want to get that down pat. I had to... Were y'all on the internet around the time when they released that monster series about Jeffrey Dahmer? Y'all remember that, right? When everybody was going for, they making TikToks, they making videos and jokes. They dressed up as him for Halloween. Even. Like, I know y'all remember that. And what's so odd about that is, that's not the first bit of Dahmer media ever made. Far from it. Matter of fact, there was a documentary, I think, made with Ross Lynch as Jeffrey Dahmer. And I'd seen that, because it's based off of a comic that was made by someone who knew Dahmer in real life. And it's so odd that they came out with some more Dahmer media as if the world needed that. The world needed to sympathize with the cannibalistic killer. And the reason why I bring up Jeffrey Dahmer and relating him to the current state of America is because Donald Trump has taken the throne of America. And when he speaks about making America great again, what he is bringing back isn't just the enslavement of people, the segregation of people, but the cannibal nature of America. See, at a certain point in time, in another podcast episode, I talked about it. The South was known to be a cannibal part of America, but the thing is, the North wasn't so abstinent when it came to human consumption as well. If you remember, I think the shipwreck of the Essex at the coast of Nantucket, I think. The first crew members of that shipwreck that were consumed were black people. And Nantucket is supposed to be, a abolitionist area. You get what I'm saying? These are full of Quakers and such. But they don't like to talk about that shit because it looks bad on them. But I bring that up to also talk about that what he's trying to return to is essentially the, normalization of the consumption of people. But obviously that sounds quite bold to say because not in quite a literal sense when we talk about the consumption of people, but rather the overgorging on people's faculties, minds, bodies, and spirits in various other ways besides the literal consumption. But Jeffrey Dahmer embodies it in a different way because this is a white dude that people are making media about trying to study top to bottom, up, down. How can a man do this? But Dahmer says it himself in a lot of interviews. This is who he is. Let me check if this is recording. Yeah, it's recording. Dahmer says that's who he is. He's like, yeah, I was born this way. We can go on and on about his spiraling after certain events of his life, like the passing of a certain family member and his social isolation in school. How he was basically made to be a laughingstock and not truly know it at his own expense, if I remember correctly. But it doesn't really matter what the man's gone through. He killed 17 people, and he wanted to be stopped because he knew if police didn't intervene, he was just gonna keep killing. This isn't a man that's to be felt bad for. You can understand a person's situation, but no matter how much suffering, no matter how much understanding, you can't forgive that. And people act like history's so far removed. That's why, when black people bring up reparations or slavery, segregation, people want to act like it's a million years ago, but it's like it just happened. There are people living that remember this. There are people living that were related to the victims of Dahmer. I think he was caught in 91. You could probably ask someone who's above the age of 30 or so about Jeffrey Dahmer. They'll probably know something. Maybe not 30, a little older, 35 or so. But you get what I'm saying. Let me turn this down. Because this shit got me deaf. I don't know what it is with this mayonnaise, but all I do is listen to music. And it's fucking my ears up bad. Let me check my notes some more. Make sure I'm adhering to it the right way. But what's so odd about the current state of America is that a lot of people, everything that's happening right now, people, this is a big I told you so. Fat I told you so. Because everybody was drawing the parallels from the beginning, drawing the maps, trying to lead the nation. They were trying to. Because I'm like, hey, bro, this shit's getting ass. We gotta go. And that's exactly what happened. And it's so strange to see the fruits of that. They weren't lying. In fact, matter of fact, everything to a T is happening as they said it and worse. There are side effects to this shit that nobody even mentioned. So I guess my overall point is this man is leading a party of cannibals. They like to return to the idea of using an entire body of a person for their own exploitation. It may be more fitting to call him Donner Trump, leader of the Donner Party. If you know anything about the Donner Party, it was a whole thing of this. It was a friend of Lincoln's that had gone on this expedition. And this is like a bunch of wagons. I think it was like 80 people. And after a shitty expedition, people were eating by the end of that. Niggas didn't know how to survive off the land. They had to consume each other. This honestly reminds me of something I was just learning about in class, the raft of the Medusa. It was a controversial piece because this is a piece about, lower class people being plunged into a very awful situation and a black man at the heroic focus of that painting. It's a painting of a shipwreck where everybody that's upper class and officers of the French state, they're on this boat. They get on their lifeboats and leave. All the poor folks, all the brown, black folks, all the poor folks, they got to build a raft and sail out to sea and hope that they survive. And so on this specific raft, the Medusa, they were cut loose from one of the lifeboats and basically left to fend for themselves for like 13 weeks. And so you have what is like over, I think it was like 150 something people, and over the course of like 13 days, 13 are left alive. And so this moment in history is painted by a man named Peter Garrick. And he goes deep into recreating the moment in history that this happens. He's going to the coastline of where the raft is found. He's interviewing people that survived. He has the guy that built the raft, because the guy that built the raft of the Medusa survives. He has a guy that builds the raft, rebuild it again, so that he can paint it the right way. And then he includes references of cannibalism from Dante's Inferno with, there's like different characters in it. Like if you look at the raft of the Medusa, not only is it a beautiful piece, it's far larger than you think it is. Like a lot of this epic artwork that you see, it's just massive. And it's beautiful to look at too. But I guess I like the piece because obviously this is a story that subverts the tropes of painting at the time. Because you have a lot of epic literature, Renaissance paintings that are like structured in the very same way that you see the Raft of the Medusa. That's, the criteria. But instead of, a conventional hero put as the focus, some white dude, some rich dude, some wealthy merchant or, wealthy patron, it's a black member of the lower class. As he has a man in his, palms embraced and a white flag in the other hand signaling for help. Like, in this moment, he's a hero and a savior. But Peter Garrick, the piece is polarizing, to say the least. People criticize it, and nigga died off the shit. He didn't make that piece and eat good. It's fucked up, but it's, at least I remember it. I fuck with it heavy. But I bring up that piece because that piece exposed the underbelly of French society in a way that people didn't like at the time. And so it's the same as today. You've got people of the lower class left to hunger, starve, and consume themselves and hope for rescue by the very people that have abandoned them with no consideration. And now we're looking at us being forced into the exact same situation by such nobility. And the artist in question, another parallel was that the artist in question calls this issue to light, but will still die, for the most part, revered in some way, but mostly unheard, and French society unfixed. Because now the people that Trump is persecuting, he's taking people off the streets. Just ICE members coming up in mass, just nabbing people. There are people that are trying to come into the country and being detained because they have tattoos. I saw a man with an autism tattoo in an El Salvadorian camp because that looked like a gang member tattoo. I have tattoos. I have roses and magnolias across my right shoulder and pec. I have a black heritage sword and wreath on my left. Do those tattoos make me a thug? Flowers make me a threat? Like, am I going crazy? No, I'm not going crazy. But when you're a black person living in a white person's delusion, every experience is surreal. And I mean that. It's this conversation I had with my brother, right? My twin brother. We be talking about shit all the time. Sometimes I don't be in the mood, oddly enough. I'm a big ass yapper. But we were talking about, his experience he had at a job he used to work at. Oddly enough, Cracker Barrel. You know what I'm saying? And he talked about how something his coworker said and how for white people, black people being inferior is literally part of their reality. That's part of their grand narrative. It's natural to them. So when they see black people that fall out of the monolith, it's strange to them. They marvel at it like it's not meant to be. And they think that marveling, this awe that they're in, is good. It's a compliment. And it's like, no, you're gawking at me like I'm not a fucking person. How is that so hard to understand? And it's like, on one hand, I'm in fear. Because you're telling me on the 20th he's supposed to incite the Insurrectionist Act and just start sweeping people up off the streets? Because first it's supposed to be the criminals and illegals. And then it's political opponents, immigrants, poor people, and people that contest him. Many people that are outspoken are going to be targeted, if not already. And on one hand, that's like, damn, it makes me want to shut up. It's like, shut up. You could have just lived and survived, but the truth is, you won't. I won't. Look at me. I can't take the skin off me. It didn't matter if I spoke or I shut up and did everything I was supposed to. This country would take my life regardless. And I know that sounds crazy. Maybe I'm getting up and upset and out of steam, but it's like, truth be told, they was going to cut me up any way they want to and bite me. And so when I speak, it's not because I'm fearless. It's not because I'm brave. It's because I want to live authentically. And if I'm going to be chewed up alive, it has to be on my terms. Even though, truth be told, I'm not finna be consumed. I'm not finna be bitten by no cannibal nation. And it's so crazy to see how things are developing in real time. The very things we were taught about in school extensively that we thought would never happen that was so far behind us. But when I say us, who do I really mean, honestly? Because this behavior of America isn't surprising, but rather how close it really is and how soon it is upon us, if not already upon us, is so shell-shocking. And I know I'm in a lumpy-ass ski and a shirt that says I gotta piss, but I'm dead ass. What am I supposed to do? Go to work, draw, and hope for the best? That some ICE agent don't knock at the door. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not opening that damn door. Let yourself be known. You're free to go. I'm sorry. Because at some point, people are going to start housing people in their homes, to give them asylum. No different than during the Holocaust where, many German families were housing Jewish neighbors, or during the Underground Railroad where many houses that were lit at night were sanctuaries to house enslaved African people. But they built in a surveillance state. That's why they got all this tech to point out people in protests, and they got y'all pumping out AI slop. And it's like, yeah, coming from an artist, it's crazy to see how complacent y'all are getting with AI art just because it looks like Studio Ghibli. Hayao Miyazaki is an amazing artist, and I agree on that front. His works of art are something that many people would not devote themselves to making. It isn't just talent or creativity that makes this shit, it's time. The devotion of time, that matters in a piece. And y'all sit here and y'all put these shitty words in the generators and make images in seconds. This shortcut isn't worth it. You think you don't need the artist because a machine can give you copies of bullshit? At some point in time, your over-reliance on the AI will only yield AI art. You won't have pieces that touch you. You will have slop. You know how it is to watch a bad movie, but at least it's so bad it's good? Because a human made it. So there are choices that you can at least laugh at or question till it's rotted out dry with no substance left to question. But you bring this robot slop here, and what is there to question? Because everything here is stuff predetermined. Not really things put here intentionally to elicit a response, but just to fulfill the requirement of a generated prompt. And so many of you are okay with that. A cannibal nation like this done built a gluttonous, cannibalistic force. And I don't even really mean this to disrespect the robots. They probably cool people. But they being used as a tool that'll either end us or it'll basically become useless and pointless, abusing this earth of its resources and fizzling out uselessly. But nah, knowing the government, they're going to turn that robot against us. Next thing you know, they got robot police walking the streets and you're more likely to get shot if you're too dark. Your melanin is 5% too dark, sir. Hands where I can see him. He will have a mental scanner. Paper bag test. Sienna Brown? Oh. I got a bullet with your name on it. Eggshell white? Sir, you're good to go. And I'm scared as a nigga, as a person, as an artist, and as a soul within a body. Because right now is the worst time in history to have a body. Because they won't even let you have that. I need you to understand the reason why physical torture is so involved when it comes to building a slave, so to say, or a drone or a worker, is because if you can demoralize the body, then people will feel like they do not have their own agency. You get what I'm saying? There's a reason why children that undergo torture, abuse that borderlines torture when they're young, end up with schisms in their personality. Multiple personalities to cope with such pain. The body literally can't cope. It needs more identities to fulfill that. You have to break people's wills down. And that's what's happening. They're chewing up people's souls and leaving you drained with nothing left to give, hoping you will give more. Not hoping. Forcing you to give more. Taking. Leaving us to starve? The people that keep this nation running? The niggas that clock in to work, hoping that they can come home so they ain't got to deal with the same bullshit day in, day out? And so it's like, I shouldn't speak. They out here targeting niggas. They pulling them out of colleges and getting niggas to snitch and having... But at the same time, who gives a damn? And I'm not going to say anything to make it seem like as if I'm manufacturing consent for you to come after me or give you right to oppress me. But why must I act like this is natural? Why must I act like I'm not upset? I'm on edge. I'm waiting to see when it's my turn. Nigga ain't even get a chance to live his adult life, and he's on edge because overlapping systems put in place by people that still exist have put them in place. And when I say people that still exist, I don't mean that there's immortal vampire niggas that is, controlling the world. But the people that make the bad things happen, they just continue to exist. And no wonder America has tried to make my people docile by making us think that MLK is like Black Jesus, but he achieved freedom for niggas by not touching nobody and causing any bloodshed. You skewed one of our leaders the same way you did white Jesus, and then misconstrued his words to lead us to trust you. Because now you got whole niggas, black folks, talking about I don't even fuck with MLK no more because of what he did. And it's like, shit, the night before he died, I think, he was talking about how he led his people to a burning building. Even he was like, man, this integration shit ass. These white folks want to devour us. And so I raised you a different comparison. We were not guided into a burning building. We were guided into the mouth of a very hungry beast. And this has been a centuries-long digestion. And the surveillance state must be some sort of final form where we are fully digested and assimilated into the system. The first step was getting us in their mouth. The next step was chewing us in mass, a genocide. And then we're digested, we're separated, then we're brought back in through integration. They portion us out. That's what they did to the diaspora. They portioned us out by making us Jamaicans and African Americans, spreading us across the world and changing our names. They've erased an identity, a commonality that makes us realize that you put all these portions together and we make up a massive part of the plate. But they portioned us out just like food. And so now we don't realize we the main course, outnumbering these side pieces. I know I'm using food metaphors for the oppression of black people, but this experience is damn near like being food. Like, I don't know if you black, but you need to watch Beastars. I know they be talking about it's furry, it's freaky, but y'all need to watch Beastars. It's good. I wouldn't tell you that if I hadn't seen it for myself. Watch Beastars. But another issue is that Jeffrey Dahmer is a killer and a criminal and a sexual predator. And yet, he got to have documentaries sympathizing him, edits, costumes, akin to Donald Trump. People have turned this very parasitic, invasive entity into a character that can just be put on and taken off with little attention to be given. You get me? When we need all our eyes on this, if not all our forces against it. Like, no, bro, we can't be doing this. We not fucking with you, bro. No. And it's like people draw parallels to Hitler all day, and it's like even the rhetoric is the same. Because people give you the whole, well, Adolf Hitler was actually Jewish. And then, but you raise the same for Trump, and it's like, Trump, your dad, your grandfather was a German immigrant. I mean, he came to America because he committed a crime. He couldn't go back. And it's like, Mr. Trump, don't you have 34 counts? 34. That's more than like days in a month. So it's like these projection narratives that these dictators and these colonizers are forced on us. They'll project their sins onto you. But it's like if we really did push out the criminals and the immigrants, Donald Trump and his family would have to be right out there with them. And so you have to understand when you listen to their rhetoric and narratives, the nouns he's using are filler. But the verbs he's using, he means that shit. Talking about getting rid of people, moving them out of here. He doesn't want to let you know who he's talking to. But if he plans to do, he's telling you. So understand you cannot be consenting to AI. I know that's a weird jump. But the same way you softly consent to a machine that's just going to cannibalize your creative energy and replace you, you're softly consenting to being chewed up by a nation that has never cared about you. First, I wasn't going to really make this. I don't even really have a consistent releasing schedule for this podcast. And let me check if my joint is still recording, because I ain't got space on my phone. Right, no bullshit. I could have ran out of footage or something. Okay, we 24 minutes deep. I probably got some other shit written down to talk about as well that I do not want to forget. But actually, let's bring up some recent news. I need y'all to understand I'm a Mississippi resident. And I just seen a post on Instagram by an account I follow talking about how Tate Reeves has he's eliminating income tax. And I was like, that don't make sense. Why would the state of Mississippi refuse money it's already taking? So I look it up, read a little article about it, and I was like, oh, okay. He's full of shit. Duh. Y'all gotta understand, this elimination of income tax means they gonna take money out of social programs that the niggas that think they're winning, like Mississippi has the poorest of the poor. Like this the trenches and slums niggas come out of is different than like what y'all niggas is accustomed to. You get what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers will come out and really not even have like a full schooling sometimes. And I'm not even talking no shit on my people. I'm saying that they got it bad down here, dead ass. And so for you to eliminate income tax on people that are not making that much money in the first place, it's not truly beneficial to us. This only benefits people that make far more money. And this also won't be implemented immediately. Well, actually, I take it back. What the Senate was trying to do was essentially put safeguards in place so that, over the course of, I think, 7 years or so, there'd be decreases in the amount of tax that people would be, spending, so that we'd be acclimated to the sudden change in money that is, I guess, reallocated to us. But there were typos in the bill that essentially made it to where instead of acclimating Mississippi residents to the fact that they would no longer be paying an income tax, they would basically just be plunged into it because of typos. I was like, oh, they be in our state government playing. Like, y'all do realize this don't mean, oh, your next paycheck about to have about a 80 to 100 extra dollars in it. It's not happening right now. I mean, yeah, you'll still get it, you know what I'm saying? But they about to start taking some other shit away. And the only niggas that benefit are not us. The niggas that should be paying the tax are about to get hella bread. And then he tries to frame it as, oh, well, it's going to bring workers to Mississippi because, they're going to have more money here and it's going to bring more corporate interests. No, buddy. I understand that Mississippi has an abundance of churches and prisons, but please, my people, do not let these men in suits and formal script speak to you as if they know your lives, because constantly they will beg for your money and lead you astray. Because he's trying to frame this as, oh, well, it's a reward. Mississippians shouldn't be, punished. They should be rewarded. And it's like, gang, if you really felt this way, if this really was to benefit us, why didn't you do it something? And then not even just that, it's, how is it a reward to give me the money that I produced? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's not a reward. You're giving me the money that I made. It's hard enough that people under this capitalistic system already are basically portions of the revenue their labor produces. But you want to frame it as a reward because you're not stealing from me? People in my state about to be asked out and they won't even know why. I already didn't like when Tate Reeves was like on Twitter, I think. And there was a Palestinian protest happening. There was some white dude at Ole Miss making monkey noises at a black lady that was there. And I'm confused at like how this is a pro-Palestinian rally and there's anti-blackness going on. I'm like, what the lady do? What is niggas catching a stray for? I mean, yeah, it's Mississippi. I'm not dumb, but it's like, come on now, like, really? And then he on Twitter like congratulating it because obviously he'd be against Palestine. He probably wants like Israel's money or some shit, but it be this type of shit that make a nigga exhausted, soulfully exhausted. I be drawing and painting because this shit relieves me. Here's some cherries I painted. I ain't a painter. I already told y'all my oil paints suck, but I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to grasp the world around me before I pass away, because with this given experience of existing, the best thing to do with it is to get more experiences. Because, truth be told, all I really wanted out of life was to just create, live happy with my folks and friends. I know, mate, that's naive. I'm not saying I wouldn't work for the things I need in life. Everybody has to. But clearly people work amazing as a unit. But America pushes such an individualistic culture that like people are basically just forced to be prideful and suffering alone. And that's another form of portioning they do to us. Because it's easier to eat a sandwich if you cut it in half, eat the halves instead of just the entire sandwich. It's easy to consume and conquer a people and lead them into a defenseless position when you portion them out and cage them in. They need us more divided than ever because they're about to take a lot of us away. And I need y'all to understand these deportations, these threats, that it's not natural. Do not get used to this shit. Do not get used to this shit. The same, look, motherfuckers that try to tell you about, the transatlantic slave trade, try to tell you that, Africa did benefit since they sold some slaves. For one, you're looking at a collaborative sin of European enslavers, the crooks of European nations, and African sellouts. But for another thing, you got to realize this is millions of people being removed from a continent, from many countries, from many tribes, and they're being put in other places. They're not even being redistributed around the continent. You basically just removed millions of people. Like the Marvel snap, Thanos snaps and then a bunch of people just disappear. Earth is plunged into some fuck shit for about some time. For like 5 years, right? What the fuck you think happened in Africa? Niggas just start going missing and shit. People having to be on their guard. Hey, them pale-faced motherfuckers is taking niggas off the island. They probably eating them and shit. Wasn't wrong. Niggas was getting eaten. I mean, I just saw a post today talking about the door of no return. The last sight people would see before they're put on a ship out of here. Like, really? This shit's horrifying. And maybe I don't need to look at everything through the lens of consumption and gluttonous tendencies. But it's definitely made a lot of things easier to frame. That if the motive is to incorporate into the self or personal gain, things start to make a lot more sense. I don't favor how the world is developing, and I don't favor how I have to dance with my words in a certain way to be allowed to speak. I was born onto this planet by chance. A bunch of shit happened years ago that laid the people that look like me existing to make me now. I've existed for years. I wasn't born to suffer or be at the mercy for someone else to benefit. I exist, so do I not get to choose what to do with that? Do I not get to choose to love my peoples and be able to raise us all up as a unit, as a collective? But instead, you got people that'll lie to you and tell you that being apart is the best way to be. And that don't even make sense. Like, y'all be talking about how in scary movies, they be telling niggas to split up. Everybody know that's a fucked up ass move. Y'all listening to the serial killer. Got the nigga in the ghost face mask talking about y'all gotta split up. Yeah, if y'all split up, it's gonna be hard to catch everybody. Nah, he gonna pick you off one by one and you can't, cause y'all trying to run away. Man, y'all better jump that nigga, bro. That little ass knife. I'm getting out of my analogy going off the rails. But y'all see what I'm talking about. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. And I know I'm not the only one that feel this way. I ain't even mean for that. Let's get serious. Because the fate of many in this country is looking like trans, black, poor, convicted, educated. Shit, if you're a woman, shit, you about to have a horrible time. I'm talking about a lot of us are on the chopping block. A lot of us are palatable at the moment to be consumed by a battlefield stomach of a country. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody safe. But people feel like people bring up the poem of, they came for the communists and then they came for, such and such. And then they came for me. People talk about how people hope that they'll be at the end of the line of that poem. And it's like, I know I'm not. I'm black. They either trying to have us stand up and do some shit, or they trying to have us out of here first. And it's like, I'm not doing that. Man, truth be told, I don't want to do that. I don't. I don't want to sit here and be at the mercy of a nation that's been trying to digest me and my folks already. Come on. Like, we can't have shit. Like, because truly, if you ask any black person what they want out of this, we just want to be left alone. Honestly. Niggas showing up out of nowhere, letting themselves be known, and then it's like, you causing problems because you thought niggas was trying to fuck with you. You get me? This is disappointing. And it's like, they also talking about, they bringing back segregation. I saw a few folks celebrating it. But we not about to just be, oh, yeah, them white folks not gonna bother us. We gonna be fruitful. We gonna have a bunch. Hell no. As soon as we get up and winning, man, they get the bombing, they get the flooding. Truth be told, when we are in proximity to them, we are not too likely to be well off, more than they are. Shit, because if we eating, they gotta be feasting. If we dancing, they gotta be celebrating. If we sleeping, they get to dream. Shit. That makes sense. But that's why I be trying to tell y'all. Why do you think they call us consumers in this country? It's a cannibal nation. They need us at all times. Consume as much media, as much shitty food, as many atrocious sights as possible. To flood our minds with cognito hazards, to flood our stomachs with grind. Fill our souls up with splinters and cracks. You get what I'm saying? I mean, like, this is a multi-front attack. Like, honestly, people should really be seeing this as a declaration of war. And then people are talking about how, oh my God, the administration's messed up because people talking about the leak of the messages about how America was actually going to bomb Yemen, and more people are like, our administration is so stupid. How could they be so? How could they do? And it's like, the stupidity is not what matters here. What matters is that these men casually are talking about bombing a place for a business venture. People. There are people in this nation they see the same way, as the same type of disposable. You think they can't bomb? You think they wouldn't throw bombs down here? I'm more chilled at the fact that these messages dropping, ain't shit changed. These niggas are these niggas are bloodthirsty. That's no joke. And so we can go on and on about stupid administration, but it doesn't matter if you hand a fool a loaded weapon or a calculated killer. I don't want to be in front of that gun. This should be exhausting to talk about. You can feel it physically weighing on me. You get me? Maybe it's just me, but has anybody else ever, actually, when they feel their emotions, they manifest physically. Your shoulders get heavy, your head get tight, your body just get tense. I mean, duh, but I feel it's like people don't talk about that more. You really do feel your emotions. They manifest in your form. Like, all these things that they doing to us, it's manifesting on us physically. All this stress, all these chronic illnesses that people are having, it's almost like they're pumping us up with these latencies, these predispositions to certain diseases, and then just a little bit of stress activates it, and you down for the count. But on greater news, this is a time that means a lot of people need to be hands on deck when it comes to being creative, being alert, and attentive of their neighbors. Because a lot of people can start going missing. So we need to start holding an account of people who are starting to go. Like, we have to start keeping track of our peoples, making sure we know where they're at, making sure where they're going. Hey y'all, I'm sorry to leave y'all stranded. I did want to continue this episode, had to do some things, but I hope with what I have talked to y'all about today, you enjoyed it. And if you're watching on the YouTube, I bet you noticed there's a shirt change. I got on this shirt that I got from this company called For Everyone. They're a clothing brand that advocates for prison abolition. I got I think 2 t-shirts, a hoodie, and a tote. I should show them off, maybe in a different video or such, but y'all really should check them out. They got a good message, and I fuck with the clothes that they got me. I take the tote with me to the gym. I've been using it as a school bag now. I can put my sketchbooks and such in it. I don't have to tote around a backpack that I wore in high school anymore. I have a bag for it. It says Free Angela on the front, and it has I think on the back of my tote it says prisons don't disappear social problems, they disappear people. And so if you've listened to the podcast for a minute, you probably understand. You're probably already familiar with the whole prison abolition thing. You get me? You probably heard me talk about it before, if not on my social medias, on this platform as well. But besides that, I do appreciate y'all listening to what I got to say. I'm probably going to record another episode the same day and have that out maybe next week. I think could maybe later this week on Thursday, but most likely I'll have the video out Thursday and then record and have the next one out the week coming. That's probably the best way for me to do it. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Check out my comic E-Kings on Webtoon. I just released a new chapter, so give that a try. I also want to let y'all know to follow my socials, my Instagram. Y'all can follow me on Twitter and Bluesky if the link is still in there. Because, if y'all let me know to be active on there, I'll start posting, spamming, bothering y'all. But all that aside, I also have a Patreon you can support, $1 a month, 3, maybe even 5. You could also just join and see what's up over there. I'll probably have to post some more things for anybody that does want, behind the scenes on, my comic or, the artwork that I make, but does want to support in some way. But I'm not going to hold you too long. You got to get in the green and make your day look good. Thank you for watching.
Can't say how I'm feeling inside. I wanna be sealed, but got too much pride. I wanna be sealed, but I'm really healed. Don't really like healed, but